As the sun set over Arizona's Verde Canyon, a lone bobcat lay confined, its once robust figure diminished under the weight of desperation. 2 years had passed since the bobcat unknowingly stepped into a metal trap hidden in the thick greenery. The trap's grip tightened around its back leg, cutting into its skin, a tormenting reminder of man's intrusion. What began as a routine search for food had escalated into a constant fight for survival. The bobcat's coat, once shiny, was now drab and tangled, and its sharp amber eyes were fading. Every attempt to scrounge for a meal brought new waves of pain, the trap slicing deeper into its limb. Starvation ached in its stomach, but it was not as harsh as the relentless metal clinging to it. Once a nimble predator of the canyon's rocky terrain, the bobcat was now a shadow of its former self, hobbling in a desperate plea for life. Verde Canyon was a haven for various creatures, a delicate balance of hunters and the hunted. But for this bobcat, the equilibrium was disrupted. Its movements were slow and calculated, each step fraught with risk. The trappers who had set the snares were still lurking, their presence casting a dark shadow over the area. The bobcat grew overly vigilant, its ears pricking up at the faintest rustle of leaves or distant crack of a branch. Its once comforting home now felt like a cage. Meanwhile, murmurs of the confined bobcat circulated through the neighboring Clarkstone community. Locals shared tales of the suffering animal, a proud hunter reduced by human brutality. Hunters, hikers, and ranchers exchanged stories around campfires and in local eateries, filled with remorse and concern. Many recognized the signs of trappers' snares, but the plight of the bobcat stirred deeper emotions. Among them was Daniel Cross, a wildlife photographer and preservationist drawn to the story. He had dedicated years to documenting the canyon's natural beauty, often highlighting the interdependence between humans and wildlife. The thought of such a magnificent creature suffering needlessly gnawed at him. Determined to find and aid the bobcat, Daniel gathered his equipment and ventured into the wilderness. His goal wasn't just to rescue the creature, but to inspire change, to illuminate the silent struggles of species enduring humanity's carelessness. Navigating the canyon proved grueling. Each step fueled Daniel's resolve. The rugged landscape, the scorching sun, and the uncertainty of the bobcat's whereabouts only intensified his determination. He scanned the terrain for paw prints, guided by the faint traces of a limping paw. Days of relentless pursuit eventually led him to a gut-wrenching sight. Beneath a weathered juniper tree, the bobcat lay, its body stiff from pain and fatigue. Daniel was shocked by the sight. The creature resembled a mere silhouette, clinging to life. The bobcat's ears twitched at his presence, its amber eyes narrowing in fear and defiance. Daniel held still, his heart pounding as he absorbed the scene. The steel trap clamped onto the bobcat's rear leg, its jagged edges coated in blood and dirt. The sound of flies buzzing around the wound indicated an infection. "Take it easy, pal," Daniel whispered, his tone low and calming. He squatted, moving carefully to avoid startling the creature. He knew its instincts would push it to attack or flee, even in its weakened state. The bobcat responded with a soft rumble, an alarm and a testament to its indomitable spirit. Understanding it needed help, Daniel reached for his satellite phone. His hands shook as he dialed a local wildlife rescue team. "I've discovered a bobcat," he relayed urgently. "It's trapped and seriously injured. I'll send my location. Please hurry." After ending the call, he refocused on the bobcat, which continued to gaze at him, breathing shallowly. Hours passed, the sun dipping low and casting elongated shadows across the canyon. A heavy sense of anticipation hung in the air, the slightest rustle or crunch echoing the critical situation. As the first stars appeared, the sound of an approaching vehicle disrupted the silence. A wildlife rescue group arrived, their car lights cutting through the dimness. Daniel signaled them over, relief flooding him as the experienced caregivers and a vet swiftly assessed the situation. Equipped with sedatives and specialized tools, they operated with precision. The bobcat growled as the group approached. Daniel crouched beside it, speaking softly. "They're here to help," he assured, his voice steady despite the knot in his stomach. A sedative dart hit its target with a mild thump. The bobcat's body stiffened in defiance before succumbing to the tranquilizer. The team quickly removed the snare and tended to the wound. The injury was severe. The metal trap had severed deep into muscle and tissue, and infection had already set in. The vet applied antibiotics and pain relievers, his hands steady but his expression serious. "It's going to be a tough recovery, but it's not a lost cause," he told Daniel. They gently loaded the Bobcat onto the rescue vehicle, transporting it to a rehabilitation center on the edge of town. For several weeks, the creature's fate hung by a thread. The wound required daily care, but gradually the Bobcat regained strength. During this time, Daniel visited frequently, his presence a steady source of comfort in the Bobcat's journey to wellness. He sat by the enclosure, whispering and sharing tales of the wilderness they both cherished. As days turned into weeks, the Bobcat began to reclaim its vigor. Its fur regained its shine, and the fierce sparkle returned to its amber eyes. The bond between man and creature deepened, a silent understanding passing between them at each meeting. Daniel chronicled the Bobcat's recovery, his camera capturing moments of resilience and hope. Eventually, the day came when the Bobcat was ready to return to nature. The team took it back to Verde Canyon, releasing it near the spot where it had been found. Daniel watched as the Bobcat took its first hesitant steps to freedom, its pace cautious yet determined. It paused briefly, glancing back at the group, before vanishing into the underbrush. But the story didn't end there. The encounter with the Bobcat ignited a fire of advocacy in Daniel. He began collaborating with local citizens, leveraging the Bobcat's story as a catalyst for action against illegal hunting and habitat destruction. Together with a team of like-minded individuals, he founded the Verde Guardians, a community organization dedicated to protecting local wildlife and advocating for harmony between humans and nature. The initiative gained momentum, attracting support from ranchers, hunters, and conservation advocates alike. Educational programs were launched to inform people about sustainable practices and the importance of preserving the Earth's natural beauty. Funds were raised to establish wildlife monitoring systems and patrol the canyon for signs of illegal activity. Gradually, conditions began to improve. For Daniel, the memory of the Bobcat remained a constant reminder of the urgency of their mission. Each excursion into the canyon renewed his commitment. The sunlight painted the rugged landscape with a golden hue, evoking images of resilience and hope. Somewhere in the vast expanse of Verde Canyon, the Bobcat roamed free once more, a symbol of tenacity and the enduring connection between humanity and the wilderness.